Monday, March the 1st. St. David's Day, Wales. My father has stopped smoking. He is going around with a white face finding fault with everything I do. My mother and him had their first row since she came back. The dog caused it by eating the spam for tea. It couldn't help it, the poor thing was half crazed with hunger. It is back on a full tin of chum a day. Tuesday, March the 2nd, moon's first quarter. My parents are suffering severe nicotine withdrawal symptoms. It's quite amusing to a non-smoker like me. Wednesday, March the 3rd. I had to lend my father enough money for a gallon of petrol. He had an interview for a job. My mother cut his hair and gave him a shave and told him what to say and how to behave. It's pathetic to see how unemployment has reduced my father to childish dependence on others. He is waiting to hear from Manpower Services. He is still ill from not smoking. His temper has reached new peaks of explosion. Thursday, March the 4th. No news yet about the job. I spend as much time as I can out of the house. My parents are unbearable. I almost wish they would start smoking again. Friday, March the 5th. He got it! He starts on Monday as a canal bank renovation supervisor. He is in charge of a gang of school leavers. To celebrate, he bought my mother 60 Benson and Hedges and himself 60 players. I got a family pack of Mars bars. Everybody is dead happy for once. Even the dog has cheered up a bit. Grandma is knitting my father a woolly hat for work. Saturday, March the 6th. Pandora and I went to see the bit of canal bank that my father is now in charge of. If he worked for 1,000 years, he will never get it cleaned of all the old bikes and prams and weeds and Coca-Cola tins. I told my father that he was in a no-win situation, but he said, on the contrary, in 1 year's time it will be a beauty spot. Yes, and I am Nancy Reagan, Dad. Sunday, March the 7th, 2nd in Lent. My father went to see his canal bank this morning. He came home and shut himself in his bedroom. He is still there. I can hear my mother saying encouraging words to him. It is uncertain whether or not he will turn up for work tomorrow. On the whole, I think not. Monday, March the 8th. He went to work. After school, I walked home along the canal bank. I found him bossing a gang of skinheads and punks about. They were looking surly and uncooperative. None of them wanted to get their clothes dirty. My father seemed to be the only one doing any work. He was covered in mud. I attempted to exchange a few civilities with the lads, but they spurned my overtures. I pointed out that the lads are alienated by a cruel, uncaring society, but my father said, "Bugger off home, Adrian, you're talking a load of lefty crap." He will have a mutiny on his hands soon if he's not careful. Tuesday, March the 9th. Full moon. My schoolwork is plummeting down to new depths. I only got 5 out of 20 for spelling. I think I might be anorexic. Wednesday, March the 10th. My father has asked me not to bring Pandora to the canal after school. He says he can't do anything with the lads after she has gone. It's true that she is stunningly beautiful, but the lads will just have to learn self-control. I have had to learn it. She has refused to consummate our relationship. Sometimes I wonder what she sees in me. I live in daily terror of our relationship ending. Thursday, March the 11th. Pandora and Pandora's mother have joined my mother's woman's group. No men or boys are allowed in our front room. My father had to be in charge of the creche in our dining room. Rick Lemon's baby daughter Herod was crawling under the table shouting, "Tit, Tit." My father kept telling Herod to shut up until I explained that Tit was Herod's mother's name. Herod is a very radical baby who never eats sweets and stays up until 2 a.m. My father says that women ought to be at home cooking. He said it in a whisper so that he wouldn't be karate chopped to death. Friday, March the 12th. My father had a good day on the canal bank. He is almost through to the grass now. To celebrate, he brought the skinheads and punks round to our house for a glass of homemade beer. Mrs. Singh and my mother looked shocked when the lads trooped into our kitchen, but my father introduced Baz, Daz, Maz, Kev, Melv and Boz, and my mother and Mrs. Singh relaxed a bit. Boz is going to help me fix the brakes on my bike. He is an expert bite fixer. He has been stealing them since he was 6. Saturday, March the 13th. Boz offered me a sniff of his glue today, but I declined it with thanks. Sunday, March the 14th, 3rd in Lent. All the women I know have gone to a rally to protest about a woman's right to work. Mrs. Singh has gone wearing a disguise. Saw Rick Lemon in the park. He was pushing Herod too high on a swing. Herod was shouting, "Tit, tit." Monday, March the 15th. I am loved by 2 women. Elizabeth Sally Broadway gave Victoria Louise Thompson a note in Science. It said, "Ask Adrian Mole if he wants to go out with me." Victoria Louise Thompson, hereafter known as VLT, passed on the message. I replied to VLT in the negative. Elizabeth Sally Broadway, hereafter known as ESB, looked dead sad and started to cry into her Bunsen burner. It is really wonderful to know that Pandora and Elizabeth are both in love with me. Perhaps I'm not so ugly after all. Tuesday, March the 16th. Pandora and ESB have had a fight in the playground. I am disgusted with Pandora. At the last meeting of the Pink Brigade, she swore to be a pacifist all her life. Pandora won. Ha ha ha. Wednesday, March the 17th. St. Patrick's Day. Bank holiday, Ireland. Moon's last quarter. Mr. O'Leary was brought home by a police car at 10:30 p.m. Mrs. O'Leary came over to ask my father if he would help her to get Mr. O'Leary upstairs to bed. My father is still over there. I can hear the music and singing through the double glazing. It is no joke when you need your sleep for school. Thursday, March the 18th. I am reading How Children Fail by John Holt. It is dead good. If I fail my O-levels, it will be all my parents' fault. Friday, March the 19th. My creative English essay. Spring by A. Mole. The trees explode into bud. Indeed, some of them are in leaf. Their branches thrust to the sky like drunken scarecrows. Their trunks writhe and twist into the earth and form a plethora of roots. The brilliant sky hovers uncertainly like a shy bride at the door of her nuptial chamber. Birds wing and scrape their erratic way into the cotton-wool clouds like drunken scarecrows. The translucent brook gurgles majestically towards its journey's end. "To the sea!" it cries. "To the sea!" it endlessly repeats. A lonely boy, his loins afire, sits and watches his calm reflection in the torrential brook. His heart is indeed heavy. His eyes fall onto the ground and rest on a wondrous, majestic, many-hued butterfly. The winged insect takes flight, and the boy's eyes are carried far away until they are but a speck on the red-hued sunset. He senses, on the zephyr, a hope for mankind. Pandora thinks this is the best thing I have ever written, but I know I have got a long way to go until I have learned my craft. Saturday, March the 20th. Vernal equinox. My mother has had all her hair cut off. She looks like one of Auntie Susan's inmates. She doesn't look a bit maternal anymore. I don't know whether to get her anything for Mother's Day or not. She was going on about it last night, saying it was a commercial racket fed by gullible fools. Sunday, March the 21st. 4th in Lent, Mothering Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Didn't get my mother anything, so she has been in a bad mood all morning. 1 p.m. my father said, "If I were you, lad, I'd nip round to Cherry's and get your mother a card and present." He gave me £2, so I got a card saying, "Mummy, I love you." It was the only one left, just my luck, and 5 boxes of licorice all sorts, going cheap because the boxes were squashed. She cheered up and didn't even mind when my father took a bunch of tulips round to Grandma's and came back 5 hours later smelling of drink. Pandora's mother was taken out and spoilt in a restaurant. I will do the same for my mother when I am famous. Monday, March the 22nd. I have catalogued my bedroom library. I have got 151 books, not counting the Enid Blytons. Tuesday, March the 23rd. I will be 15 in 11 days, so I have only got to wait 1 year and 11 days to get married, should I want to. Wednesday, March the 24th. The only thing that really worries me about my appearance now is my ears. They stick out at an angle of 90 degrees. I have checked them with my geometry set, so I know it is a scientific fact. Thursday, March the 25th. Lady Day, quarter day, new moon. I have had a spiritual awakening. 2 nice men representing a religious group called the Sunshine People called at the house. They talked about how they alone could bring peace to the world. It is £20 to join. I will get the money somehow. Nothing is too expensive where peace is concerned. Friday, March the 26th. Tried to persuade Pandora to join the Sunshine People. She was not swayed by my arguments. They are calling round tomorrow to meet my parents and sign the agreement. Saturday, March the 27th. The Sunshine People came at 6 o'clock. My father made them stand on the doorstep in the rain. Their robes got wet through. My father said they were trying to brainwash a simple child. When they left, my mother watched them walk up the cul-de-sac. She said, "They don't look very charismatic now. They just look bloody wet." I wept a few tears. I think I was weeping out of relief. 20 quid is a lot of money. Sunday, March the 28th. Passion Sunday. British summertime begins. My father forgot to change the clocks last night, so I was late for the Pink Brigade's meeting in Pandora's lounge. We voted to exclude Pandora's father from the meeting on the grounds of his extreme left-wing views. We have decided to back Roy Hattersley in the expected fight for the leadership. Pandora has gone off Tony Benn since she found out that he is a lapsed aristocrat. Claire Nielsen introduced a new member. Her name is Barbara Boyer. She is dead good-looking and also dead intelligent. She disagreed with Pandora over NATO's nuclear arms policy. Pandora had to concede that China was an unknown factor. Pandora asked Claire Nielsen not to bring Barbara again. Monday, March the 29th. I ate my school dinner sitting next to Barbara Boyer. She is a truly wonderful girl. She pointed out that Pandora has got a lot of faults. I was forced to agree with her. Tuesday, March the 30th. I am committing non-sexual adultery with Barbara. I am at the centre of an eternal triangle. Nigel is the only one to know. He has been sworn to secrecy. Wednesday, March the 31st. Nigel has blabbed it all over the school. Pandora spent the afternoon in matron's office.